Okay, looks like we have a bad connection. Okay, hi everybody. Stephanie here, Body and Soul Awareness. We are about to have an amazing show with our special guest, Miss Elektra Moon of Electric Moon Healing. Hopefully she will be on the air soon. We're actually going to be having a great discussion. Sorry, I'm trying to do some stuff over here on the computer. Okay, we're actually going to have a great discussion about raising the feminine. Ultimately is the goal, but how do we do that? First of all, we have to realize that there's a lot of things that we've picked up over the past, whether it be abusive relationships or neglect of ourselves from other people or neglecting ourselves, and all of the damage kind of that all of those things cause us. So let's see. Okay, she's not on yet, but so Electra's going to come on and she's going to give us some tips and different things that we can do to kind of move past these shadows that we hold on to. And I think for a lot of us, we don't even realize that we're holding on to the things that we are holding on to. So that's why it's important to seek out your shadows, almost like go in there, figure out what it is that's inside of you that's blocking you from moving forward with your life, and ultimately stepping into your own power of who you really are. Because ultimately the reason that we lost it is because we were listening to other people in the first place. So Elektra should be on here any minute. Hi, looks like I have a viewer out there. Hello. So first I just wanted to say, like, one of the things that I've dealt with personally, kind of with dealing with shadow work, is that, like, it's not a lot of fun. Sometimes it's really yucky and it's not pleasant, and sometimes it hurts. Oh, good, Electra's on. Let's get her on here. It's unpleasant physically, sometimes it's unpleasant emotionally. Usually those things tie in together. Hello,
Hey,
Elektra.
lady.
Hi, beautiful. I don't see your crown.
I know I didn't get one.
Oh, no. It's
No,
okay.
keep it on, because I love it. I saw it. I was like, ah.
It's okay. It's so funny because I actually had to go buy one because I got rid of all of my crowns when I moved here, and I was like, what was I thinking? Why'd I get rid of my tiaras?
Right. I was looking for one, and I guess I just didn't look in the right spots. I needed to hit the
No
little girl
worries. It's
section.
fine. I'm so glad you're here with me.
Me too. Thank you.
So yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and get right into our talk tonight, because it's a lot of important information. I think right
Yeah.
now is the time for it, because it's really time to step into our personal power, like I was just saying. So let's go ahead and get right into our chat, talking about shadow work and how we work through that.
Yeah. Ah, shadow work. The fun, not fun.
Yeah, I was just saying how not fun it was.
It is not fun. Um, but it can be enjoying when you have the ability to accept that your shadow really is a part of you, and that these are the things that build your character and make you who you are now. And so
Right.
we can embrace these shadows, when we can embrace these fears and shed light to them and shed love to them, we can then turn them into that different aspect. We can bring that wholeness back into ourselves, opposed to all these little pieces that we leave out for others to pick up.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, okay, so maybe you can tell me a little bit about, like, why this time right now is so important that we start doing this, and then we can get into like tools and things of that nature.
Sure. So, as most of us are feeling, the vibration of this planet has changed, and it is ever expanding. And we've been in this kind of sleeping period, but here, in the last 5 to 7 years, people are really waking up left and right, left and right. And
Oh yeah.
in that awakening, they're seeing all these little trails of parts of themselves that aren't so nice, things that we've done that are not good. And we've all done them, but
Mm-hmm.
for right now, what we're really seeing the trend in is the abuse of the divine feminine.
Right.
And that is why I'm here today, is to talk about the divine feminine. Because when we abuse the divine feminine, we're not only abusing women, we're also abusing men. And so in that, then we abuse our children and we abuse this planet. And
Right.
so we need to be aware of the things that really are going on. And so these are the not so lighthearted subjects, like rape, like abuse, like sexual trauma, that we need to talk about, because at some point we have all experienced it. Anything from drug abuse to sexual abuse, at some point it has happened in your family.
Right.
And so it needs to be talked about, because then it's that connection that we all have to each other, that then once we realize, man, we've all been through so much trauma, then we can lift up out of the trauma vibration. We can lift up out of that fear vibration, and we can move forward as the divine creative beings that we are.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, totally agreed. So I know there's a lot of different probably modalities and different ways, things that you can do to do the shadow work.
Mm-hmm.
What are some different ways that you kind of have found to be helpful with those kind of things?
Sure. So for my shadow work personally, my family comes from a long line of alcohol abuse and drug abuse. And I really took it upon me as my duty to break and cut that karma in our family. So it started off for me, I overdosed on drugs. And during that overdose, I was given the choice of, did I want to go or did I want to come back? And I knew I needed to come back. I knew I needed to come back, and I needed to help. And what helped me originally was energy work, getting my energy balanced. And I found a beautiful Reiki practitioner. And in that, she also does cranial sacral therapy. And I knew of cranial sacral therapy, being a massage therapist, and hadn't really dived into it. So I had a cranial sacral session, and that opened me up in so many ways as to how we store emotions in our body, how we properly and improperly, what is the word I'm looking for? Oh goodness, I drew a blank. how we actually get through them, how we deal with these emotions. And so starting off, it was, I needed to get my body right. I needed to do the nutritional work. I needed to cleanse, and I see that with a lot of people. Our nutrition is not right in this.
We don't eat food anymore.
We don't eat food. It's so made up. It's such plastic. It's not even funny. So we needed to get that straight first. And then from there, it was dealing with my own personal traumas. And so that came through with the energy work and with the cranial sacral and with good talk therapy, women's groups, finding other women and other men who have been through similar, knowing that you are not alone on this, on this voyage.
Yeah,
and
that's huge.
It is super, super huge. It's that disconnect that makes us go into these swirling vortexes of entropy and abuse. From addiction, to physical abuse, to self-sabotage. And I was definitely a professional at all of those. I was really, really professional at all of those.
You too?
Yeah, imagine that. And so many others are. And so it was those baby steps of just really taking time with myself, getting to know who I was. And so when I had my overdose, the goddess came in. And by goddess, I know that was my higher self. But my higher self looked at me and said, look, little girl, get your fucking ass up. You got shit to do. You got healing to do. And there's others out here who are suffering just as much as you.
Yeah.
So in that was 7 years ago that happened. And I immediately went back to school for healing. I went and did my Reiki. I went and did the full certification for cranial sacral therapy through Upledger Institute. And that kick-started my healing and being able to heal others. And as I was healing others, I was healing myself. And as I was healing myself, I was healing my family. And so it just really became this beautiful momentum of moving forward and being able to help others with that. And so craniosacral therapy for me is one of the tried and true ways I have found that really works for shadow work. If you're not wanting to do necessarily plant medicine, not everybody's going to be into ayahuasca. That might be too strong.
Right.
You know, there are ways we can do this without having to use different plant or hallucinogenics. And so with the craniosacral therapy, what it does is it realigns the spine, realigns the pelvis, and you realign the bones in the cranium. And by doing that, you release the fascial layers throughout the body.
Okay.
Now, our fascial layer is where we hold all our emotions physically. So if you're 5 and you stub your toe, because the fascia is completely connected, if you do not work out that restriction can eventually pull on your brain, because your brain is separated by fascia and it lays on fascia. So then you get a little older and say your heart gets broken and you think you deal with it, you have your coping mechanisms, right? But that restriction stays in the fascial layers and again starts to pull on the organs of the body, starts to pull on the brain. And it'll cause things from anything from depression. Kids with ADD, a lot of them have just fascial restrictions in their brain. And so I found this with shadow work, that as we release these restrictions and we release these blockages of the body, the shadow appears and we're able to send it with love and with light, because we're actually facing what that original restriction was.
Right. Well, okay. So you said when you're 5, you stubbed your toe, but like I'm 37. I don't remember that toe stub. How do I know that that's my problem or that's what I need to address? Because I think that's like one of the big problems, even for me personally, is like I push things so far behind to move past them that I don't even remember they happened consciously.
Sure. That goes for most of us. I would say for 98% of the people, because we are taught to get up, keep moving, keep going, you're going to be okay. So we don't sit and take the time. You know, it might have only needed 5 minutes of love for that stubbed toe to not create a restriction.
Right.
But we were told, hey, get up, get moving. You know, you still need to play soccer.
Stop crying. You're not bleeding.
Right. Nothing's broke. You're fine. And we've all heard that. And we've all even said that to our children at some point, too. I know I have.
I have.
Then, you know, you look back and you're like, oh, man, if I just hugged them for 5 more minutes.
I know.
So that's
probably why I had a baby again, so I could like go back and like do everything the right way this time.
It usually is. But you recognize that, and those of us who had our children, you know, earlier on don't necessarily recognize that. So I've got like 2 children who were raised with a not aware mother. And then I've got 2 children who are raised with an aware mother. And the day between them, it is night and day between the 4 children.
Yeah.
But because they know this and they see the growth in me leading by example, it trickles. And so then, you know, it will even out. It'll iron itself out eventually. They still have to do their process.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you know if that restriction is getting to you? Is that this is where we need to go?
Yeah.
You don't always know. And so you don't know until you get still and you get into your body, until you get the temple aligned energetically for yourself. And then you can start noticing where those little things are coming up. Like maybe you've got those repetitive patterns. So for me, one of mine that I'll share was, for the longest time, I had just little piles of clutter all over. And it wasn't that I wasn't unorganized. It was just like, man, where are these piles coming from? I'm not a messy person, you know? And so I sat in meditation and I was like, okay, I want to know why these piles consume up. Well, it turned out that when I was 13, I had a stalker. And I had a stalker from the time I was 13 till I was 17. And the stalker would come to my room at night, and would jack off in my window, would take pictures of me. There was a moment in my life where I was grounded from having curtains in my room. So the stalker could hang out, it's a long parental story, but the stalker hung out in front of my bedroom window at night. And so I created piles upon my bed, and I would crawl under them at night to hide while I could sleep. And it was like, oh, then, you know, it wasn't till 30 years later, I got still with myself and I was like, man, that is where these piles came from. But it took me a month of like deep meditation to figure that out. So it was really getting quiet with yourself. And what are those little things that come up? You know, what are those little things, like the little bitty pile? What is the purpose of that? So, you know, those little patterns in your life, there's always a deeper seated meaning to
Something
that.
to it. Right, definitely. So I know that a lot of women are sitting out there and saying, but I don't have time to still myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time. I have to take care of my kid. The 2-year-old's running over there. The 16-year-old, I have to go to a meeting at school because he did something stupid. I have to go make dinner. I have to do all of these things. What would you say to that?
15 minutes. Find that 15 minutes every day. Even if that 15 minutes is on your toilet, you know, sometimes that is the quietest moment we have as mothers. Close that door, go to the bathroom, and get your 15 minutes just to align with your chakras. Like, we don't even know our chakras. Most of us know the colors, but do you know your personal pattern? Have you looked to see what your personal geometry is in your chakra? You know?
Probably not most of us.
Probably
and
not. Do you know?
I want to say, dude, the bathroom is my happy place. Even when he's banging on the outside of the door, I just kind of imagine like I'm in like some exotic location and maybe it's like a worker outside like building onto my home or something like that. I don't know.
I love it.
I really create my own happy place when I'm in the bathroom, man.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I feel you on that. It's where all my candles are. It's where all my incense are. It's where.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
it's the only place you can shut the door and actually get away from them. For
a moment. For a moment.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I think it's so important that you do that is because if you don't take that time, then you teach your children that you're not important and that taking time for yourself isn't necessary. And I think even if, like I said, my 2-year-old is banging on the door outside, that if I take those 15 minutes away from him when the whole entire day goes to him, that he's going to be okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's going to teach him exactly that, is that it's okay to take that moment. It's okay for him to take a personal moment, you know, to look at you at 3, 5, 7 years old and be like, I'm going to go take a time out, Mom. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to take my own time out. I'll be over here meditating.
Matching timeout chairs, you know, put one in each corner. When they take their time out, you go take your time out.
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. I love that.
You know, really, like, sit them in the corner and go sit your own butt in the corner.
Right? Like, timeout is not a bad thing, dude. Okay.
No,
it's just a break.
Good. It's just a break. So the 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The other is right before you wake up, before you even roll out of bed. Set your day right then, you know, and so you can take that even deeper, is before you go to bed at night. If you're wanting to figure out where your shadow work lies, set that intention before bed to find it in your dream space. And then when you wake up the next day, it can come to you, or even a few days later. And keep that dream journal. You know, journaling is super, super important. And I know whenever I get away from it, I can get real out here. And then it's like, it's a great way to ground, is to get that journaling in. Yoga, of course, is
love it.
For my women out there, here recently in the last year and a half, I found Booty Yoga, Buti.
Okay.
And her name, the founder is Busy Gold. She lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. And it is the first yoga that was created by women for women. And
nice.
It is a self-love practice. It's done in the mirrors. You are looking at yourself eye to eye with yourself while you're in these sensual moves. But while you're in these sensual moves, you're working through those restrictions in the fascia. So you're getting the deep yoga poses, you're getting the tribal dance, and you're getting the plyometrics, and then you're getting that breath. And that has done so much for me. So much for me. And I highly, highly recommend it for all women, men too. It is a great way to express those emotions. We get in there, it gets loud, we turn the music up, we're hooting, we're yelling. You're really, really just centered into yourself, but yet you're just sharing this abundance of energy with all the people that are around you. And that right there is so healing, you know.
Now, is that something that's nationwide, or
It
you have
is.
to go to Arizona to practice?
It is nationwide. Actually, it's international. You can find classes quite all over. And so there's some down there in Cali. It's starting to pick up. It's a newer practice here recently in the last 7 years, but it's definitely getting coast to coast. So there are some good practitioners and good studios there in Southern California.
Nice. Yeah, I got to check them out. Okay. And is that something that you teach?
I do. I am certified to teach. I teach here locally in Dallas. I will be working at the Cosmic Yoga Festival this weekend and doing a demo on stage of Booty. So I'm really excited about that. And it's, you know, it's a fun one for the kids to do too, because it is energetic and it's a Kundalini practice. So I bring my granddaughter to it and she loves it. She's out there spiraling and then she goes into her deep yoga pose and yeah, so
awesome.
I just highly, highly recommend this practice. It is super healing.
Yeah, and probably a lot easier to get the young ones to do than the more like quiet, calm practices that I try to do.
For sure, for sure. You got to wear them out first. Then you can get them into the Shavasana.
There we go. There we go. I love that.
Get them to the Shavasana after you wear them out. Yeah.
Cool. So, okay. So you talked about the craniosacral and the yoga. So what other like meditations or tools is it that you would recommend for women to use to kind of get in there and really do the shadow work?
Working with the new moon. Working with the dark side of the moon, because that's going to come into those darker aspects of the cosmic womb healing, the subconscious healing that we all need. So in the dark of the moon, I like to go outside, and if it is warm enough and weather prevailing, sit naked under the moon. Sit naked under the dark of the moon and ask for that guidance from yourself. Ask for that guidance to release. And so you can then keep building that releasing throughout the waxing and release it on the full moon. Every month we get the beautiful gift of being able to manifest and release by the moon. So use it. You know, that's what the moon is for. So use her powers, use that energy to release what no longer serves you, by all means.
Right.
And then go on.
That's awesome. So I was going to just ask you, okay, so when the new moon is what, like the day after the full moon or a couple of days after the full moon? Like when do you, like, how do you know when is that? Is it in the middle? Is it
2 weeks apart? 2
Okay.
weeks apart to create the 28-day cycle. So you have the waning of the moon, and that goes into the new moon, the dark of the moon. And then from there you have the waxing of the moon that then takes you into the full moon.
Got it.
The new moon is about manifestation and the full moon is about releasing. So on the new moon, you want to manifest what shadow work you need to release.
Okay.
And then you take it through to the full moon, and then on the full moon you release that shadow work.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it's a lot of kind of staying on top of it, right? Because you have to know like when these things are happening, and then you actually have to set your intention and like follow through for the whole entire month. So that's probably where people like get kind of off, I guess, is because you do have things that come up or whatever and throw you off.
Sure.
So say that does happen and I forget to do something on the new moon. What do I do, Elektra?
You'll still be okay. You can still work with the new moon and the full moon. They're still there. So easier ways is, you know, find a practitioner. Like it's totally okay to go get a massage. You know, massage is a great way to release the fascial restrictions. And the fascia, like I said, it wraps around every organ, it wraps around every muscle, the brain sits on it. So if you're getting a massage, you're getting relaxed. You're working through your shadow work. Although shadow work is not easy, at the same time, if it's something that's you've already built the coping mechanism for and it's just that restriction, you can release it without having to go back through the shadow work.
Okay.
And that, I think, is really nice. I think people get a misconstrued conception that, oh my gosh, I'm going to go into shadow work. I'm going to relive all these traumatic things about my life. You don't have to relive the trauma. You've already been through the trauma. We need to release the trauma. We need those proper ways of letting it go.
Okay. So, what are some of the things that you as a healer, other than cranial sacral, can help people with?
Chakra balancing, chakra tuning forks. Those are always a nice, quick way. Say you only have like 30 minutes in your day. You want to come get a session. You want to relax. You're feeling out of balance. Go get a chakra tuning fork session. That's one of the things I do. We can do it quick and easy and the clothes stay on. You know, there's a lot of really good modalities where the clothes stay on. Acupressure is a wonderful way to rebalance the meridians, to move the energy blockages that are, you know, then affected in the meridians. Crystals. I love my crystals. I got my crystals right here with me right now. This is one of my favorites. This baby is a selenite wand.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
And so it was just wrapped with speaker wire as a conductor. And it is amazing to just run over the body. I highly recommend everybody make one.
That's cool. Yeah, I have a huge piece of selenite. So would you say it's just speaker wire?
Yeah, some copper speaker wire, old speaker wire, and then twisted it and then wrapped it around. And
nice.
It makes a great conductor.
Nice.
So I've made one for my grandbaby, and she uses it. The kids love it. That one's always a good one. Black kyanite. This is amazing for cutting cords. So when you feel like someone is attached to you or something is attached to you, just cut it off. And so these are quick little tools that you can, you know, carry in your purse. Yeah. Right. Because you could be at work and all of a sudden, you know, somebody comes around and you just get that energy and then they leave, but you still got that energy. So you
it's like get it off.
Get it off, get it off, get it off. So those are, you know, these are little things people can keep in their purse that will help them out. Selenite, black kyanite is always a good one. Other tools are Vajra dojres. Have you ever seen these? They're Tibetan.
No. Oh, that's cool. Actually, you know what? I have seen one of those. I had no clue what it was, though. Okay, tell me about it.
So these are Tibetan lightsabers for the most part, and they really do get rid of demons. There's no other way to put it. They really do. So I like to use these in my healing sessions when I'm doing cosmic work for the womb space, placing them on the actual uterus or the sacral chakra. And then I like the lapis because it's blue, so it then connects to the throat chakra. And the throat chakra, we talk ourselves into a lot of karma with our work. So putting this then on that sacral chakra and focusing on the connection with the throat chakra is a quick 15-minute way that you can do your shadow work yourself.
Oh, okay.
And so
so that's not something that you actually need a healer for. You can just buy one of those and I guess you would cleanse it somehow probably before you start using it and then
you can. They're pretty self-cleansing because of the way they're made. They create their own infinity loop, so they're constantly cleansing their own energy.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so
where would you get one of those?
You can order them online, and if you find a Tibetan store or any of the like a Buddhist temple, they usually carry them.
Perfect. Okay.
They usually carry them. But I like to have tools that my clients can do on their own because we can't always get to a practitioner. And when it comes down to it, you're your own best practitioner, you know. So when it comes to self-healing, so we all have a cosmic womb space, male and female, and we all need to take the time to heal it.
Okay. Can you explain that a little bit? The cosmic womb space, you've mentioned that a few times, and I'm not sure that everybody knows what that means.
Sure. So as women, we have our womb space where we create from. As galactic beings or astral beings, we have the cosmic womb space where all creation comes from. And so in that womb space, because it is such a big void, we fill it with a lot. And that's usually where those shadows go to. And so we'll shove them under the rug, and as we shove them under the rug, they then go and get stored in the cosmic womb space. And that is the collective womb space of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. which is what we're trying to merge, which is where we're trying to bring that balance. So we need the men as much as we need the women to be working on their womb space. So for you men out there, if you didn't know, you do have a womb space and you need to clear it.
Right. You have some work to do too.
You have work to do.
Okay.
We're all here because we need to be healing Ma. We need to be healing our mother. We need to be healing this planet. That's really our last karma here. That really is our last ultimate shadow work, is to get her cleaned up.
As humanity. That's, got it. You know what? That makes a lot of sense. And it's so funny because I've always felt like everybody's like, oh, I want to heal humanity and help all the people. And I'm like, I really think we're here to help her.
We are. We
yeah.
are. We are. The
That's
only
beautiful.
way.
And really, it's the least we could do after we've done so much damage to her.
That's exactly it. Like, the whole karmic reason we still keep coming back is because we're not healing her. We know our karmas. We know right from wrong. We know what to do and not to do. But we get confused and we get caught in the outer parts of the universe opposed to coming back inward. And that inward part is that cosmic womb space, the healing of Ma.
I love that. Okay. Yeah, that's wow, that hits home a lot. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Yeah. So are there any points that we missed that you want to make sure that our listeners get from all of this today?
Get to moving. Get to loving yourself more. Get those positive affirmations in your body. Get your herbs right. Get your nutrition right. I need everybody on this planet to start taking reishi mushrooms now.
What are they?
Reishi. The
reishi mushrooms?
Reishi mushrooms, chaga mushrooms, like those are so important for our internal organs.
Oh, wow. I have to talk to you more about that.
Yes. So reishi it's a beautiful spore. It's actually found out in space also. It grows here on the planet. And what it does is it tonifies the inside of the body. So like doing crunches for your abs, you're doing crunches for your organs.
Interesting.
The other thing that it does is it helps ground us star seeds. So there's many times as star seeds, as you well know, we're like, oh my gosh, I don't belong here. Get me off of this planet now. Yes. Reishi makes you feel like you're at home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And you will notice a difference within 3 days of taking it.
And what is it? Is it like, what do they grind up the mushroom and put it in a capsule, or you just eat the mushroom raw? How does that work?
You can get it in many different forms. You can get it powdered. You can get it whole. You can brew your own tinctures out of the whole. You can do the powder. I get a powder that I put in my tea in the morning. And I do like an herbal tea in the morning. You can get, you can actually get reishi tea.
Oh, cool.
So that's always nice. There's a reishi detox tea by Choice Teas. That's a really nice, lovely, and it's got kind of a chai flavor to it. So that one's really good too.
So does that make it more palatable? Is it yucky?
No, actually, it doesn't taste like anything.
Oh, okay, because I I love mushrooms. So, but I don't know. Like sometimes when it's like specialty, it's like I don't know.
That's pretty flavorful.
But I'll do it if it's good for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So the nutrition, the meditation, the movement, the body work. I really want people to understand how important it is to get body work from other people, because that keeps us connected. It's good to know yourself. It's good to be your own physician, but it is absolutely okay to call upon the help of a professional. You know?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. Because I think even for me personally, like I got to this certain point and I was like, well, I'm really supposed to be doing all this work by myself because I'm empowering myself. And like, if I ask for help, does that mean I'm not empowered? But I think it makes us more empowered when we actually work with other people, because we don't know everything.
Exactly.
And we might know our specific realm or area or whatever niche it is that we work on, but there's so many other things out there that can help us. Yeah. I think we limit ourselves if we try to just practice or heal ourselves all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're going to learn from that practitioner, and the practitioner is going to learn from you. And that's what I love about every session that I have. Like, I always get something new from my client, even if it's the same client I've been seeing, every week for 4 years. I still get something new from each one. So I really want to stress that, body work and healing works these are things that need to be on our daily. They need to not be viewed as a luxury anymore.
Right.
It is not a luxury to go get a massage. This should be a part of our basic health care. It is not a luxury to go get energy work. Our energy gets off. We all need it, you know.
Right.
So these are the things I really want to stress today is loving yourself enough to go make your shadow work feel good.
Right. Exactly. And realize that abuse doesn't just come from other people. We abuse ourselves, so we need to work on that too.
So much. We abuse ourselves more than we realize, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like you were saying, stub the toe, get up and move, come on, you know. That's self-abuse. It really is. We aren't taking the time to listen.
Cool. Well, do you want to go ahead and give everyone your contact information so they can reach you if they want to get a session?
I would love it. So I do distant healings. I can do all my sessions through Zoom or Skype if you want to do that, except for the body work, which is then on the table, of course. So you can reach me at electricmoonhealing.com. You can find me on Facebook under Elektra Moon, and you can find me on Instagram at Elektra Moon 3. And you can also find me on the Secret Energy page as a life coach with Secret Energy and Seven Bomar. Yeah, that great group.
Beautiful. Yes, yes. That's actually how we met.
It is how we met. We'll still keep it going.
I know. All right, sweetie. Well, thank you so much for all of this beautiful information. It's so needed right now. And hopefully everybody got a lot of good tips and ways that they can start healing.
Yeah, definitely. And then I'll be out in California in a couple weeks, so I'm going to see you too.
That's right, because you're going to do a ceremony, right?
I am. I'm going to do a ceremony, and you and I will find a booty class.
Okay, perfect.
Yes,
sounds
indeed.
Awesome. Yes,
Right,
thank you so much. All right, sweetie, I will talk to you soon. Mwah.
Mwah. Have a wonderful day.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check us out live on Sunday, November 12th. We have an awesome guest coming up. Her name is Purna, and we're going to be talking about yoga prana vija. So make sure you check us out at 3 p.m. on Sunday, Pacific Standard Time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.